Hello sir, good day. We are Group 4. This video presentation is about the issue we choose. But let me introduce myself first. I'm Christian Joel Sibusa, the leader of this group, together with my members, Mr. Rafael Antonio and Ms. Shaima Enriquez. But before we start, let's have some preliminary ideas of what LGBTQIA+ means. So Ms. Enriquez and Mr. Antonio will explain what LGBTQIA+.
Lesbian usually refers to a woman who has a romantic and or sexual orientation toward women. Gay used in some cultural setting to represent men who are attracted to men in a romantic, erotic, and emotional sense. Not all men who engage in same-gender sexual behavior identify as a gay, and as such, this label should be used with caution. Bisexual or bi, a person who experiences sexual, romantic, physical, and or spiritual attraction to more than one gender, not necessarily at the same time, in the same way, or to the same degree. Transgender, a person whose sense of personal identity or gender does not correspond to the sex they were assigned at birth, or does not conform to gender stereotypes. Sexual orientation varies and is not dependent on gender identity.
Queer, a multifaceted word that is used in different ways and means different things to different people. First, attraction to people of many genders. Second, don't conform to cultural norms around gender and sexuality. Third, a general term referring to all non-heterosexual people, some within the community. However, we feel the word has been hatefully used against them for too long and are reluctant to embrace it. Intersex, an umbrella term that describes people born with any of 30 different variations in sex characteristics, including chromosomes, gonads, sex hormones, or genitals. Asexual, a person who experiences little or no sexual attraction to others and a lack of interest in sexual relationships or behavior. They may or may not experience emotional, physical, or romantic attraction. Asexuality differs from celibacy in that it is a sexual orientation, not a choice. People who are asexual may call themselves ace.
Thank you for that, Ms. Enriquez and Mr. Antonio. And now let's proceed to our main topic. The issue we choose is about the Sogie bill, because until now there are a lot of gays are being discriminated against because people do not accept them, and they are seen as a scourge in society and bring misfortune, and said it to be a sin against God. What is Sogie? Sogie stands for gender orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. Let me explain these three. So first, we have the sexual orientation. Sexual orientation enduring pattern of romantic or sexual attraction to persons of the opposite sex or gender, the same sex or gender, or both sexes, or more than one gender. Gender identity. Our gender identity is how we feel in relation to being male or female. And there are different terms of gender identity. First, we have cisgender, a person whose gender identity and biological sex assigned at birth are the same. For example, they were born biologically as male and express their gender as male. Second is transgender, a person who lives as members of a gender other than that expected based sex assigned at birth. Trans people may describe themselves using a range of different terms. And lastly, we have gender fluid. A person is gender fluid and may always feel like a mix of the two different genders, but may feel more man some days, more woman in other days. But there are a lot of different terms of gender identity, but these three I mentioned are the common terms of gender identity. Gender expression. The external display of one's gender through a combination of how they dress, how they act, and the other factors. This generally within the context of what society expectation of gender are. As you can see in this picture, this is Gretchen Diaz, a transgender woman from Navota City, a feminist, a philanthropist, beauty queen, cognitive development, a specialist, businesswoman, and a theater artist. She is a victim of being discriminated and dragged by a janitress at Cubao Mall. The word Sogie became more resonant because of her. Janitress drops her complaints against Gretchen and she got arrested. But after a few hours, when Gretchen got arrested, she walked free. The janitress decided to drop her complaint, and janitress, in a written letter to Diaz, apologized and said she was willing to learn LGBTQ rights. Still, Gretchen vowed to pursue legal action to make sure that what happened to her does not happen again to other trans women, even in other parts of the country, and that Gretchen became the new face of LGBTQ movement. If you want to ask me if I agree that transgenders should have a third restrooms for them, my answer is I do not agree with that. Why? Because transgenders has the right to use either the women's restrooms or men's restrooms and free to do that. Trans women are considered women. Trans men are considered men. And take note, being a part of LGBTQ or being a gay, lesbian, transgender, or trans man is not a ill or a sin. Being a gay or lesbian or trans woman is not a disease that can infect other people. Being a part of LGBTQ is a gift from Almighty God that gives you a colorful and happy life. Stop saying that gays are a scourge in society, and though we have never been a scourge in society. The real scourge in society is that people who have done nothing but to discriminate against LGBTQ, and not only us, but the other people. Stop the discrimination on LGBTQ. We are human too that living in this beautiful world. And now, we will hear the explanation by Mr. Antonio about the Senate Bill number 689, an act prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression, and providing penalties therefor.
According to the Act of Prohibiting Discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity or expression, and providing penalties, explains that the Philippines was rated as the second most gay-friendly nation in the Asia-Pacific region. The majority of adult Filipinos, 72%, believe that society should embrace homosexuality, and it is past time for the Philippines to join the several nations that have anti-discrimination law at the federal level.
According to the survey, the global divide on homosexuality by the Pew Research Center, 73% of adult Filipinos agree that homosexuality should be accepted by society. The Philippines plays second as the most gay-friendly country in the whole Asia-Pacific after Australia. Just recently, some 70,000 people joined the Metro Manila Pride March, the largest and the oldest pride demonstration in Southeast Asia. In the Philippines, some local governments already have ordinances to protect the welfare of the LGBT community. In addition, the Department of Education issued the Gender-Responsive Basic Education Policy, which primarily commits to integrate the principles of gender equality, gender equity, gender sensitivity, non-discrimination, and human rights in the provision and governance of basic education. It is high time for the Philippines to join the long list of countries with a national anti-discrimination law, with the hopes of giving the LGBT community full acceptance and not just tolerance. This proposed legislation aims to finally eliminate the hate and discrimination against them. This bill also seeks to create an environment that is safe, equal, and reasonable for everyone, regardless of their sexual orientation and gender identity or expression.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Antonio. And now we will hear the explanation about the Sogie Equality Bill by Ms. Enriquez.
The purpose of Sogie Equality Bill is to protect people who are particularly harmed from a societal and institutional level.
so much, Ms. Enriquez. Now, before we end this video presentation, I just want to give a message for everyone. We just want a respect from you and stop discriminating against people who are part of LGBTQ. The children who are part of LGBTQ, let's not sympathize with them because it gives them trauma and they will carry it until they grow up and give them a nightmare. It's not their fault if they feel that way. And as for the parents who have children who are gay, homosexual, or whatever, let's accept them fully. We can't stop their feelings even if God accepts us fully, even we are sinners. Let's accept them without doubt. Stop the discrimination and spread love and respect for everyone. Be bold, be proud, be gay. Again, this is Christian Jules Chibusa together with my members Mr. Rafael Antonio and Ms. Shama Enriquez. This is our video presentation about the Sogie bill. That's all. Thank you.